All right, gang. So remember, you're going to have devices that are logging on to wireless access points physically, but typically to a wireless LAN controller logically. But beyond that, there's an expectation in many situations that there's going to need to be a reasonable need for higher level authentication, right? That user and that particular device that are connecting to the network need to be validated beyond simply a pre-shared key that a bunch of devices have. No, we want to talk about, do I trust you as a user with this device specifically to access this network from this endpoint at this time? Those are more sophisticated questions to ask, and that's why we need a sophisticated policy engine. And so that's where the ISE is going to come into play. That's where we're coordinating with it. So this is going to be using the standard AAA protocol. You know what that is? If you're guessing radius, you are correct, right? Radius, that's the distance from the center of a circle to the edge. So again, we've got this edge device that needs to get connected, and the radius server is what provides that. Remember, that's remote authentication dial-in user service. It's been around for a long time. So it's standardized, and that's going to provide first the authentication, right? It's going to be able to coordinate with things like Active Directory or LDAP authentication, wherever I have my identity repository, ISE is going to be able to coordinate with that and validate the accounts. And so first we check, are you who you say you are? Do your name and password match? Or does your certificate match what our records indicate should be associated with you, again, as a user and as a device? If that is true, then we get to the aspect of authorization. That's the true policy. That's where we say, okay, this user is allowed to access this access point in this particular part of the network, but maybe there's another access point that gets you access to the presidential boardroom, and you're not allowed to access that. So access control is focusing on the authorization. Are you allowed to do what you're attempting to do or not? And that is going to be a very powerful set of sophisticated tools that are associated with that, because we are going to introduce device profiling. So we can have templates to describe the various devices that are establishing a connection to say, yes, I do trust this device to access it. So maybe we allow for bring your own device, maybe we don't. Maybe we allow for this user using this device in this kind of coordinated aspect or not. A couple of other key things to recognize are that this will also include guest lifecycle management. What we mean is we have a bunch of workflows that are associated with the process of getting guest networks set up, whether they are hotspots, basically open networks, or whether they're sponsored guests. So, okay, I've got somebody coming in and I want to allow you or someone else to be able to sponsor that guest, allow them access in a temporary sort of way. Very cool. We can have an internal certificate authority. So our certificate management does not have to go through an external certificate authority to hand out the certificates necessary to validate the users and devices, but that can be driven through ISE itself. That can make for some faster on-ramping of devices, a little more consistent. We don't have to build trust necessarily because we're all working within this internal framework. Very cool. And then finally, the web framework that we're going to use allows for a lot of easy monitoring and troubleshooting. You can see what's going on as far as the policy constructs are going. So again, the accounting, the last A of AAA, is happening here across all those devices. We're centrally able to reference, okay, we allowed this user at this time for this reason. We didn't allow this user at this time for this other reason, right? We can validate that. So when users are saying, hey, I couldn't get on, I should have been able to, we can go drill down and see exactly why that is. Also keep in mind that this product integrates in with the vast majority of other Cisco platforms. So we know it integrates with Prime Infrastructure. It also integrates with some other aspects and third-party tools. So this is an extensible product, in other words, that it's not just within the bounds of what you get out of the box, but it can continue to have add-ons to support custom needs that are based on certain devices and the things that they can provide.